Hello and welcome back. In this video, you will learn how each command works in the Voice Note AI agent. So we will go through an explanation of how each command works, what are the smart objects generated by them, and a demonstration of how each of them works in practice with an example voice note so that you can understand everything in this process. With that said, let's get straight to it. I have separated these commands into three categories, which are the general use, the specific scenarios, and the miscellaneous. So general use are the ones that you'll be using on most of your voice notes, and they can basically be used on anything. Now, the specific scenarios are commands that you use on specific situations where each of them comes into play, such as when you are identifying tasks, when you're writing a message to someone, reflecting on something, and so on. And the miscellaneous are to identify the emotions that you are feeling with a specific voice note and to generate an image for a specific voice note. Now, with all of them covered, I'm actually going to start from the bottom here because I want to generate a couple of images for whenever we are playing and using the other commands. You get to see it as a beautiful illustration and not only a plain text voice note. So let's get to it. I'm going to expand this. And as you've seen, it's super simple to run these commands. You just click on the smart object and then on the command that you want to run. In this case, I want to generate an image for each of these voice notes. So as you can see, I'm just going one by one and hitting these commands. Now you can see all of them are generating images right now. And in order for us to see this better, I want to see this as a cards view. Now this means that we get to see the thumbnail of each of these voice notes with the details, with the metadata about all of them, which is the title, the length, and the tags and so on. So you can see that AI has generated an image for each of those. If I'm not satisfied with any of them, I can run these again. So I can click on smart objects and generate image again. And these will replace the previous images, but not delete them, which is interesting so that you can keep all of them saved here below. For example, here you can see the images that were generated and not deleted. So this is interesting, something that I find useful. And so with that, now we have an image for each of those voice notes, and this will help us illustrate and visualize the content as well. So now starting from the bottom is number 11, check. I'm actually going to hit check here. Now I'm going to move up and start from the beginning. So let's get to it. Let's start with the first command here, which is to generate a summary with the tag summary voice note VNSO, which stands for Voice Note Smart Object. Now, this is actually a repeat of the summary since the summary is already generated automatically here whenever you add the voice note super tag. So what happens, and I'll show the example here, when you repeat the summary is that it's generated as an object below the voice note that you can move and take onto other places. And it has the voice note smart object super tag, which can help you find this later on. So as you can see, it generates a summary of that voice note. And this is pretty much what it does. This is useful for general cases and anytime you want to repeat a specific summary. Now, command number 2 is to create a report on a specific subject. And I'm calling this X as if it's a variable inside an equation. So what this does, it creates a report with the tag report VNSO based on a specific prompt or question that you fill into this field called prompt or question. And this means AI is going to use your specific prompt to generate an output. So in this specific case, I could ask AI to generate a report explaining what are the possible health benefits that using voice notes could bring into our lives. So generate a detailed explanation of how voice notes can help humans with their health and well-being. That's it. It's a very simple prompt, but it should be enough to generate us some interesting answers here using the report. Now, of course, you can take this onto whole other levels of bringing in extra knowledge or information and also detailing an explanation of exactly what you want AI to generate. But as you can see, a simple prompt is enough to generate a report. And here you can see that it's organized the potential benefits of voice notes for health and well-being, organized into daily routines, psychological and emotional impacts, using as self-care and mental health. As you can see, it did not bring much of the health, physical health benefits of being able to move and being able to walk while capturing voice notes. So if that's the case, I can modify the prompt in question in order to guide AI to generate me a better answer based on what I want and what I know is already inside this transcript. So I'm going to add this specific detail, and let's see if this gives us a better result or a more precise explanation of how this can help with our physical well-being. Let's say, please remember to identify reasons why notes can help with our physical well-being by integrating move into our routine. So that said, I'm going to run this again. And just so you know what's happening on the back end of this, so you can see that this extended prompt field is activated and runs to amplify and improve, giving more context to our prompt. And everything together is sent over to ChatGPT and brings us an answer generated as a report below. So if we open up the new report, it's probably going to have more information about physical well-being. And yes, here it is, because we asked specifically for that. So this is to give you an example of how you can nudge AI into a direction to generate an explanation based on what you want, and ideally based on what you know is present in the voice notes, because this is all being generated based on your knowledge and what you spoke into a voice note. So it's good to keep that in mind. Well, this is example number 2 to create a specific report. So a report on a specific topic. And this is useful as a more of a deep dive into something that you want to explore and maybe that you already are looking for specifically based on voice note. Now let's keep going. Command number 3 here is the brainstorm of ideas. So this creates a brainstorm of ideas with the tag brainstorm outline, and the ideas themselves also have a super tag called brainstorm idea. And inside each of these ideas, AI provides an additional AI suggestion for how to improve those ideas and bring an extra context or an extra possibility for you. So let's look at an example here, which is about the evolution from note-taking apps becoming knowledge media. Now, I wrote this as an email, so I used this voice note to help me organize the ideas for my email. Again, I'm going to delete these images, and what we want to run now is the brainstorm, and as you'll see, it's going to generate this brainstorm outline with a couple of ideas, and then I can use those and reorganize them into any order that I want, and even copy them and paste them into my work, and of course, change a couple of words so that it's really what I meant to say, even though I was the person that wrote these ideas in the first place. I spoke these ideas in the first place. So as you can see, this brings me a list of brainstorm ideas mentioning different things that I talked about in this voice note. So it covers the transformation of note-taking apps into knowledge media. It mentions a couple of the people who I mentioned, authors such as Marshall McLuhan and Douglas Engelbart. And if we expand any of these, you will see that there is an AI suggestion below. So, for example, Engelbart and knowledge platforms. This transition towards knowledge-based social platforms may change how knowledge is structured and shared, echoing Engelbart's vision, but with modern technological implementations like the Tana platform and the methodologies of creators like Dan Koh. And the AI suggestion here is to develop templates or tools that embody specific knowledge sharing techniques, which could be shared across these future platforms as standard practices. And yes, this is a great idea because this is exactly the plan, at least my plan, to develop these templates on how to share and structure knowledge, not only to share these myself, but of course, also to help other people share their knowledge as well. So you see, this is an interesting way to explore your ideas, both on a shallow level and maybe even going deeper, because each of these, let's say, summaries of ideas represents a broad concept that I've talked about inside a specific voice note. And then I can open up these ideas and take them further by looking at the AI suggestions and even transforming this into a Tana chat, which could help me explore this even further, right? So like I can bring this over as an AI chat and ask more questions about this specific brainstorm idea and have AI chat with me and bring me even more clarity or even more depth to this understanding. So I'm not going to do this right now, but this is a possibility that you can consider later on. And there's also another possibility that ties back with the previous command that we used on generating a report, is that you can use one of these ideas, for example, the influence of Marshall McLuhan, with this idea that we shape our tools and thereafter our tools shape us. And we can generate a prompt that guides AI to give us even more information about this idea. So let's say expand on the idea that, and then we can bring this here, and we could even, let's say, provide extra ideas and possibilities of using this concept in our sharing of knowledge. Now we can use this, generate a report as we've seen, and now we are using the ideas inside a brainstorm outline, and then we're expanding on them using another command. So this ties into that idea that we can use different commands on a same voice note. And it takes it even further by chaining them together in a way that we can expand on these. So here we get a detailed report, right? So he repeats this idea that Marshall McLuhan's insightful information brings a dynamic interplay between humans and technology, right? It's quite interesting. And as you can see, this brings us even more depth by talking about transformation of note-taking tools, the knowledge sharing possibilities, which are topics covered in the voice note, but bringing more information and more perspectives here. So this is also something to consider, and it's something that I find quite interesting to play with these ideas on different levels, right? So on the shallow and then going deeper onto a specific idea. So this is command number 3, brainstorm outline. Now let's go for command number 4, which is to create a brainstorm of ideas, but this time in the format of a mind map. So this comes with the mind map tag, and these ideas are organized with hierarchies. And these can be visualized in Tana as a hierarchy, And you can also copy and paste them over onto another tool that you can actually see this as a mind map. Let's go to this example here. I'm going to generate a mind map about the concept of a holistic second brain. So this was a voice note that I recorded talking about some of the different inspirations and theories and areas of study that I bring inspiration from to this idea of a holistic second brain. So let's generate the mind map here and see what this looks like. Okay, so here we go. And when I generate this, you can see that it creates these first level indentations, and then on some of these, it bridges onto another level inside of those, and sometimes even further, as you can see here. And as you can see, this organizes the idea in a hierarchical way. So it starts with the definition, challenges, and solutions. Then it goes into a couple of the fields that I talk about, which are life management, systems thinking, holistic second brain's functionalities of knowledge storage, of creating a network of your knowledge, and AI advice is a final layer, creating, similarly to the brainstorm of ideas, a couple of advices that can help you improve this idea furthermore. So mind maps are a nice tool whenever you want to have a general view or general perspective upon a subject, and you want to see this as a ramification of ideas, because this can be good to visualize the big picture and understand how the different components connect within this map. So let's go now to command number 5, which is the content piece. And this is secretly my favorite command here. And this generates a content outline with the tag content idea outline. And this content outline is organized into sections, just like you would organize the outline of an article or a book. And this is super interesting to organize ideas about anything, because whenever you are creating a piece of content, you are forced to structure whatever it is you're talking about. So this means you'll have an introduction, you'll have a direction of ideas. So ideas will make sense and will connect with one another in interesting ways. So this is very interesting to visualize not only content ideas, but also to visualize anything that you're trying to explain, sometimes even your own reflections, because you can visualize them in an organized and structured way. So here in this example, we'll talk about self-knowledge and knowledge about ourselves within this context of knowledge management and Tana specifically. So as you'll see, this will generate a content outline, and within the outline, the ideas will be organized with a flow as if this were an actual article. So here we go. This created several different sections, which is something I enjoy, and I'm really liking how AI is improving the quality of these answers, because within each of these, we can see that the ideas are actually solid, right? They are structured and they are present, showing what I mentioned inside the article. So here, just so we take a quick look, it organizes first into this idea of knowledge, right? And this subjectivity that every knowledge is tied to the observer, which makes everything within knowledge management about self-knowledge, right? And then it builds upon this idea of integrating the self into knowledge management, of using these reflection tools, and then practical implications of this integration and this analysis of ourselves, and then different areas of self-reflection, such that we can create this network where we're contemplating different parts of our lives, and then a couple of techniques for this. So you can see this has a progression, right? This is a good way to visualize and to understand your own ideas, and it brings you some complexity, right? So there are several people, real people, who are not able to generate a content outline like this based on a voice note. So this is quite impressive, right? This is AI actually helping us organize and visualize our ideas in a linear flow. And of course, you are responsible for using this. So you are the one who's going to actually get these pieces of information and probably expand on each of them in order to write an actual piece of content if that's your purpose. So this sums up this example on the content piece. I really enjoyed this one, so I really suggest you to explore and play with this because this is quite interesting. Now, let's go for the specific scenarios now. So these are usually quite direct. It's easy to understand what each of them does. So the task extractor creates a list of tasks with the tag task generator. And here, these tasks inside the task generator come with the task super tag. So this is also important. And this is why you should merge this task super tag that comes with the template with your task super tag, so that whenever you generate a task, it's using your super tag that you are used to and that you have configured with your own fields and configurations. Now, these tasks can also be assigned to projects automatically within this task generator object. Let's look at an example here. This was a voice note that I recorded with ideas on how I wanted to create this assembly line to connect knowledge about my products and my business with different AI agents and AI commands that can help me use that knowledge to manage each of these products by helping me to generate the promotional material, landing page, and content for each of these products. So let's use this task extractor command. And as you'll see, this will create a list of tasks that is associated, grouped by project. So this means it's associated with this specific project of launching the Voice Note AI agent. And as you'll see, it generated several tasks here, which include defining the input tags for Tana in order to categorize the knowledge, then map these into the categories of products, create the prompts in Tana, configure the AI agent. So you'll see that this is bringing me the tasks that I brainstormed here inside the transcript. So inside the tasks, you'll see that they are connected to the project. So if I go to that project inside the project dashboard, I can see not only the voice notes associated with it, but also tasks that were generated using the task extractor, and of course, any other task that you create and assign to each of these projects. So this is it for this example of the task extractor. This, of course, is used to generate tasks. So this is whenever you are capturing a voice note that is more actionable, where you are thinking of what you want to do next. And the good thing is that if you mention different projects, AI is usually capable of grouping them by these different projects and assigning these tasks to the projects automatically. Of course, it's worth checking and making sure that everything is as you expected. So this is command number 6. Command number 7 is to create a message based on a voice note that you've captured. And this creates a message with this tag send message. So this is actually a different type of smart object. And I'll already generate this running the message command so that you see what I mean. Because inside this smart object generated here, you can define a style for your message, and you can choose the specific output language that you want. So here I'm going to go for English as the output language, and the message style, and this needs to be this specific field here, can be reflective and heartfelt. That looks good. And from here, after configuring how you want this message to look, then you're going to click the right message, and then AI is going to generate the actual message based on your voice note. So as you can see, this generated a message here: happy birthday, talking about greatness and several different things there. So this is how to generate a message. And of course, this is self-explanatory. This is useful whenever you want to write a message or an email to someone. So you can capture this as a voice note. This is going to be sent into Tana, and then you can run this command, copy the message, paste it over, and make any edits before sending it to whoever it is that you want to send this message. So this wraps up command number 7. Now the number 8 creates a reflection journal using the tag reflection journal. And here there are different tags within the reflection journal that help you visualize these reflections about any specific topic that you have covered during a voice note. So I usually use this as either a morning journal practice or like a weekly review where I'm looking back at something that happened and I'm reflecting on my behaviors or usually on possibilities for the future. So it's this reflective moment when you are deliberately looking at your life and considering possibilities or analyzing what happened on the past. Now, as you will see, we can run this by hitting the reflection command. Now, you will see that within this smart object, you can see your reflection with different views. So the first one is this journal dashboard, where you can see the title of each of your points of reflection or reflections identified within this voice note with the specific tag that was used. So here you can see there's insight, bad behavior, opportunity, and so on. These are the ones identified here, but there are a couple others that you might find out. And here you can see that the reflection comes with details explaining more about what this means. And if we go down here, you will see that this is where the actual objects are created. And for each of those, you have this extra button called AI Advice. So let's see, avoidance of breaks. So this is usually good. So if I get an AI advice here, it's going to fill in this AI advice field with an advice based on the specific reflection and what I captured here in the voice note. So you'll see that the advice was to embrace scheduled breaks, reflect on underlying beliefs about scarcity or insecurity related to work, and to practice self-compassion and affirmation. So this is interesting. I like this. And this is a good way for you to get your ideas out of your mind, look at them, visualize what was going through your mind on a specific reflection session. And if you want to go deeper into any of these topics, you can use the AI advice and you can, of course, dive deeper and reflect on each of these, which is an interesting way to interact and to journal in this modern era of technology and note-taking. So this is the reflection journal. This is, of course, useful when you're reflecting on your life. And I really enjoy this one, specifically for morning journal sessions, because you can walk somewhere and reflect on your day and how your week is going or on any other topic in your life. And of course, you can connect these to your contemplations, right? So this might be related to fasting, for example. So I can create this source of contemplation, which is fasting, eating. This is a good way to reflect on your life and to connect these reflections to different subjects and topics that are relevant to you. Now, number 9, pros and cons. So this creates a breakdown with the pros, the neutral statements, and the cons for and against a specific topic. So this comes with the pros and cons tag, and inside there are additional tags created for pros, cons, and neutrals. So as you'll see, when I generate this, this will create a table with the pros, neutrals, and cons, which is somewhat of a table, somewhat of a cards view. You understand what I mean when we look at this, because you can see this as a linear view of pros, cons, neutrals, but then you can click here on view options, and then you can group these, and then you can group by tags specifically. Now here you can see the categorizations of pros, cons, neutrals, and of course, if you switch to cards view, so once we look at this as the cards view grouped table, you'll see that on the left, we have the pros for taking breaks and having a healthy, balanced eating schedule. Then the cons against that, and a couple of neutral statements. So this is yet another way of visualizing your ideas using pros and cons. Just like the previous example, here you will see that the actual objects of pros, cons, and neutrals are generated here on the bottom. So you can see them as cards view. You can expand and see them here one by one. This is the pros and cons. This is an extra possibility of how you can look at your ideas and insights using the voice notes command. Time for our final command here, the emotions. And just now, I actually noticed that I didn't check the boxes here. So let's do a bulk check here right now so that we are ready to wrap this up with the emotions. So what this command does is it analyzes and identifies the three predominant emotional states that you are feeling when recording a voice note. Of course, this is not 100% precise. This is more of an exploration. See this as an experiment to use AI to help identify your emotions. And you will be surprised by how well AI does. But just don't take this as the truth, right? As ultimate truth of your emotional states. You are the one responsible for identifying your emotions and not AI, of course. So it generates based on a list of emotions following David Hawkins' map of consciousness, a list of these predominant emotions on a given voice note. So the emotions are already there. They're initialized with the details. So if we open up this emotion tag, here you can see what this table looks like. You can see that the lower frequency, the lower vibration emotions have this smaller number of the energetic logarithmic. In the higher states of emotions, the higher frequencies have these higher numbers because these represent higher vibrations. And then you can see there are different descriptions for each of them. You can, of course, explore this at your own pace. And what we will see now, two examples. The first one was my reflections on an unproductive day. And the second one was a voice note that I recorded immediately after bringing myself into a state of gratitude for things that happened today and in my life in general. So this should be an interesting experiment to see how the emotions within these two voice notes, which were recorded 5 minutes apart from one another, may be completely different, right? So I'm going to run these two here so that I have the two emotion tracker objects here, and we can analyze both of them. And I actually want to open this up side by side. So let's see. So the emotional states for the first one were anger, fear, acceptance, and on the second one, joy, pride, and reason. It's interesting to look, and this gives you a gateway to understand and name your emotions as well, and also get familiarized with the David Hawkins scale of consciousness, which is a very interesting topic. So you can see that here it generates the emotional states and also a description of what was going on and what you were indicating about the voice note and about the situation that you were describing in the voice note, right? So I'm not going to look too much here, but you can see that this transcript reveals a deep sense of gratitude for personal achievements, support friends, and so on. And this shows frequently expresses feelings of dissatisfaction and disappointment, right? So this is just to demonstrate how this emotions tracker works. because this could be interesting to run on reflections that you might have. You might even run this on a message that you are sending someone. And of course, you can run this emotions tracker on any piece of reflection or on any voice note that you want to analyze further and that you want to play with. And as I said, you can use this as a way to express and get negative feelings out of you in a journaling session, and then analyze your emotions, and then maybe flip your emotional state and put yourself on a more positive vibration, expressing gratitude or acknowledging your value somehow to increase your confidence, increase your self-esteem. And then you can compare these emotions. You can play with these, right? So this is more of a fun way to explore our inner reality, our emotions, right? Our feelings connected to our thoughts, so that we can explore and visualize these inside Tana. So this wraps up all of the commands that you have inside the Voice Note AI agent. And I really, really hope that you enjoyed going through these commands. If you have any question about a specific command, if you have any recommendation or request on how to change any of them, you can leave a question inside the Circle community, and I'll make sure that I help you and guide you towards whatever it is you want to accomplish or understand here. And let me know if you enjoyed any specific commands. I would love to know which ones you're using the most, because this is super valuable feedback to me. So if you find yourself using any of these commands repeatedly, I would love to know that. I would love to understand what is it that makes it valuable to you, so that I can build more upon that specific command and even create other commands that can help you in similar ways. So thank you for watching. This actually should wrap up all of the videos for this initial onboarding tutorial. So I wish you a very fun experience using the voice notes. I hope that you can become more productive. I hope that you can become more reflective, and that you can understand yourself better and visualize your ideas better using these voice notes. So take care, enjoy, and I'll see you around.